What was your, sir, this is a Wendy's moment. I worked in a cell phone store that had a veterans support office behind us. One day an older gentleman was waiting in the queue. When it was his turn, I called him up and asked what I could help him with. He stepped up to the counter and told me that the Veterans Hospital was claiming his vision impairment was only 20% disability, and he felt it was much higher. I agreed, and I offered to walk him to the correct building, and told him I would be a witness for him. Lol. I was working at McDonald's and this lady said, "Can I get the Wendy's 4 for 421 inches?" I said, "Ma'am, this is a McDonald's," and without a moment's hesitation she replied, "Indeed it is. Can I get a Big Mac?" Quote, had a guy come into my place of work yesterday pissed off because he issued his payment date and had to pay extra to turn his phone back on. He said something along the lines of, "It was due at midnight and y'all aren't open at midnight, so how was I supposed to pay?" I calmly explained that we are open until 7 p.m. every day but Sunday, and he screamed, "Well, unlike you, I actually have a job." Quote, at my job. Whilst doing my job, work for a CPA office that is in an office park with a couple doctors' offices. One day a guy came in only speaking Spanish, so I grabbed my Spanish-speaking colleague to translate. He talked to the guy in the lobby for a few minutes. Then the guy left and my coworker came back and asked if that was a joke or we put someone up to that. Apparently the guy explained that his testicles were extremely swollen and painful. He was looking for one of the doctor's offices and just walked into the first building in the complex. Iron. Sit. We do taxes here, not testicles. I was in Lowe's one morning right after they opened. There was a warden at the service desk having a complete meltdown, yelling and screaming because Lowe's didn't have a licensed contractor there at the store for her to hire. She apparently woke up that morning and decided she needed a deck like that same day and thought she could just go to Lowe's and have someone immediately start building a deck. It was dead, so I stood with the cashier listening to the show. They ended up having to call the police to get her to leave. Worked at Dairy Queen about 10 years ago. Customer pulls up to our very busy drive-thru. Customer, yeah, can I have the 10 nuggets for $1.49? Sorry sir, we don't carry nuggets. But I can get you a chicken strip basket? Customer, no, I want nuggets. On your commercial you don't even know your own food? Me, sir, I'm sorry but we don't carry nuggets. We have chicken strips and steak fingers? Customer, nuggets for $1.49. Me, sir, this is Dairy Queen. You are referring to Burger King. Customer, Dairy King? Me, you are at Dairy Queen, asking for a Burger King menu item. Customer, oh, proceeds to wait in line for another 5 minutes while watch. I've told this story tons of times to my friend's family because it's one of my favorite Domino's stories. This happened somewhere around 2017-2018. One day it was really slow at work at Domino's. I was still a relatively new insider, only a few months into what would be about 4 years, and still in school, so I was hoping that it would stay slow so I could go home so I can cheat on my math homework, play some League of Legends, and get some sleep since my school started an hour earlier than other schools in the area. A woman, probably mid-40s, comes in to order a pizza. She's pretty chill, and we're just chatting while she's ordering because there really isn't much to do otherwise since we already cleaned the store and oven and all that. After she gets her pizza all done up, I ask her if she'd like any drinks. She's like, "Oh, what do you guys have?" I'm running down the drink options and she notices Coca-Cola and looks at me wide-eyed like she just saw someone get hit by a car. "Don't you know they put human embryos in Coke?" Quote, "I'm Sony?" She then spends the next 7 minutes running down pretty much every major conspiracy, from human embryos in Coca-Cola to flat Earth to the moon landing being faked, etc. If you think of a pre-COVID conspiracy, she hid it, and she tied it all up in a neat little bow of "It's all the Jews." I'm stun-locked. The only words that can come out of my mouth are, "So no on the drink?" Quote, "Coke Zero please." I guess the zero means 0 embryos. Work in radio. Got a call on the contest line one time. "Yeah, I need a hotel room," said the caller. "Okay, how would you like me to help you?" Quote, "Well, book me one." Quote, "You're aware you called a radio station's contest line, right?" Quote, "Yeah, don't you book hotel rooms for rock stars when they do a show in town?" Book me one. Quote, "Not one specific moment, since it happened all the time when I worked at Ulta. I am looking for this lipstick," shows me Sephora brand lipstick. "We don't sell that, but I can show you something similar." Quote, "No, I want this specific lipstick. Don't you sell it? Well, where can I buy it?" Quote, "At Sephora, ma'am. I work as a cashier at a home goods store. I'm very friendly and honestly treasure my customer interactions. I was doing my usual patter, 'Hi there. How are you doing? Did you find everything all right?' And this lady tells me that it's the first time she's been out of the house in a while. I thank her for choosing store and go to move on with the transaction. She raises her shirt, shows me a huge angry red incision on her stomach and starts telling me about her recent hysterectomy. The stitches hadn't even been removed yet. I sort of nod and smile and try to pivot to her total so I can move on with the massive line that's building. And she won't stop talking. I had to call for a backup cashier while getting very detailed description of surgery, uterine cancer, and the recovery process. She didn't drop her shirt the entire time. I'm a high school teacher in Australia. I had a parent rail me out that I wasn't teaching their daughter how to do her taxes. I'm a history teacher. I worked in a local cafe, newsstand, convenience store type spot. We also had a Ticketmaster outlet for a bit. Our small town had an annual concert that usually ran 2 or 3 nights. It was really popular with the local folks, so it brought in a lot of foot traffic with people buying tickets. My boss was honestly a small business mastermind. That was the extent of our involvement. We sold and printed gate passes. On night 1 of the event, I was closing the store as usual. At 10 p.m., an irate woman called wanting to file a noise complaint about the concert. I was like, "Ma'am, you must have the wrong number. This is Focal Cafe." She insisted that she was filing an official noise complaint and demanded to speak to the owner right now. 10 p.m. on a Friday? Yeah, he's not here. He also isn't the police and doesn't deal with noise complaints. Also, it's only 10 p.m. and this concert has been widely advertised for months. She then went on a wild rant that we needed to do something about the noise. Since we sold tickets, she wouldn't let me off the call and was going berserk. I told her I was going to disconnect, since we had nothing to do with the event or the noise. She called back multiple times, and finally I just let the phone ring. Was still ringing when we locked up. "Ma'am, are you okay?" I used to work for Kmart. Someone came into the store and wanted to know where the pet department was located. We only had one aisle of pet items and it was mostly items for dogs, cats, food, litter, toys, eat. I took the customer to the aisle, and they said, "This is it? This is all you have for pet supplies? You don't have an actual department like other stores?" Quote, "Yes, sir. We just carry the basics. If you need a bigger selection, there is a pet supplies plus located at the other End of the plaza. The customer got upset and said, but if I wanted to go to Pet Supplies Plus, I would have gone there. But I wanted to go to Kmart. So I guessing you don't have fish food or anything like that. Quote, I showed him the same selection of fish food. And he got upset. He then started asking advice for fish tanks and, again, I directed him to the Pet Supplies Plus that was located just a couple storefronts down from Kmart. When he insisted on not going to that store, I gave him directions to 2 other pet stores in the area. Eventually he left, but not before saying, this is why Kmart is going out of business. Sure, buddy. The lack of a pet department is the sole reason Kmart is going out of business. Uber driver. Once had a git I picked up from a karaoke bar that was obvious upset, distressed. Asked if she was okay. Yeah, I just did karaoke. Oh? That's pretty cool. I did a song for my dad that died a year ago. Ah, that's sweet of you. Nothing else was said until I got her home, which was only a couple blocks away. As I pulled in, this is what she said. I'm not going to give you a bad rating for this, but you could have been more emotionally available for me. I just said, I'm sorry, and had to stop myself from bursting into laughter. I felt bad for her, of course, but that was just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard from a passenger. Especially prefacing it with, I'm not gonna give you a bad rating for this, but. Second story. Picked up a lady. She was distressed. I asked if I could do anything for her and she said, not unless you can take back the last 40 years of my life. It was a very silent, awkward ride. A man come into my tattoo shop once and asked for a massage with a happy ending. Was like, this is a tattoo studio, not a massage parlor, and he just stood there like, yeah, I know, as if tattooists are synonymous with sexual masseuse.